Building resilience involves developing skills and attitudes that can help us navigate and overcome challenges in life. It's important to recognize that challenges are a normal part of life, and accepting this reality can prepare us mentally and emotionally. Cultivating a positive attitude allows us to view challenges as opportunities for personal growth and remain motivated during difficult times.
I'm immensely grateful for it because, where I'm at today is, my lab works on a number of issues related, sort of hardcore neurobiology of regenerating the brain, trying to fix, basically cure blindness and repair visual systems, but also things related to, fear, courage, mindset, stress, anxiety, trauma, et cetera. And the early seed of seeing how science is done definitely gave me an advantage.
Having a support network of family, friends, or mentors can provide valuable emotional support and practical assistance and guidance. Taking care of ourselves physically and mentally is crucial when we face challenges. Prioritizing healthy habits like proper nutrition, enough sleep, regular exercise, and engaging in stress-relieving activities can enhance our resilience.
I will describe that by listing out the protocol first, and then I'll give some of the scientific mechanism second. Because in the past, what I've tended to do is give the mechanism and then give the protocols. I know some people, it's like, enough for these academic guys. Just tell me what to do. But if people want the mechanism, I'd be happy to flesh that out.
Yes.
I should say that what I will mention is not everything I do. So for instance, I get up and like most humans, I use the restroom and I have a glass of water. I do those things. So I'm not listing every right foot, left foot step through the morning, but the things that are geared towards getting the mind into a proper place. For me, I'll describe it as my routine. I generally get up somewhere between 5:30 and 7 in the morning, depending on when I went to sleep. I'm not super regular about when I go to sleep, but generally that's between 10:30 and midnight.
Yep.
I try and avoid that midnight hour, but happens. So I get up, obviously I use the restroom, I drink some water. I do think that hydrating is very important.
And also, setting realistic goals enables us to focus our efforts and maintain motivation. Patience is key, because overcoming challenges takes a lot of time, takes a lot of perseverance. Celebrating our achievements along the way can boost our motivation and help keep us trudging forward.
Is to go outside for 10 minutes and get some bright light in your eyes. I'll just list off some of the things that people always ask. What if you wake up before the sun rises? Well, simple rule. If you want to be awake, turn on as many bright lights in your house as possible. But then when the sun comes out, get outside and see some sunlight. You do not have to look directly into the sun, but you do want to get outside out of shade cover if you can. Don't wear sunglasses if you can do that safely. Don't try and do this through a window. Don't try and negotiate with me on this point. People
Go
are like,
outside.
what about a window? Well, the filtration of the important wavelengths of light through the window is just too high, and so it would take hours for you to set your circadian clock that way. You want to do this because once every 24 hours, you're going to get a peak in cortisol, which is a healthy peak. You want that peak to happen early in the day because it sets up alertness for the remainder of the day. There are really nice studies done by my colleagues in Stanford Psychiatry and Biology Department showing that if that cortisol peak starts to drift too late in the day, you start seeing signs of depression. It's actually a well-known marker of depression. So you want that cortisol, almost stressed out, kind of, the day's beginning, I have a lot to do feeling. That's a healthy thing. You want that happening early in the day. The sunlight will wake you up. And what's really cool is that over time, you'll start to notice the sunlight waking you up more and more. The system becomes tuned up. If you miss a day, it's not the end of the world because it's as we call it, a slow integrating system. But don't miss more than one day. And if you live in an area where it's very cloudy outside, just know that the sunlight, the photons coming through that cloud cover are brighter than your brightest indoor lights.
No matter how tough things get, it's important not to give up. Persistence and determination are essential for building resilience. Every challenge offers an opportunity to learn, to grow. Reflecting on our experiences allows us to extract valuable lessons and apply them to future situations.
So breathing and the neurons that control breathing are so interesting because they are constantly working. They work reflexively all the time. They're working right now. If you're live and you're listening to this, they're working. But unlike a lot of aspects of our brain-body connection, we can grab a hold of it immediately and start tinkering with it. Like I can't say right now, hey, start digesting faster, Andrew, or tell my intestines, hey, slow down digestion, or I can't make my heart rate speed up just by telling it to, but I can slow down or speed up my breathing if I want to. So it lies at this bridge between the conscious and the unconscious mind. And I don't say this from any point or stance of philosophy. This is physiology. So if your mind is not where you want it to be, whether or not you're trying to sleep or work or focus or anything, I'm a big fan of this physiological sigh, which was discovered by physiologists in the 1930s. It's a double inhale through the nose and a long exhale that follows. The exhale can be done through the mouth or through the nose. If you're one of these people who can't breathe through your nose, you could do this all through your mouth. So it's just an inhale and then inhale again, even if you're just sneaking in a little bit more air, and then long exhale. The social media, getting dopamine hit after dopamine hit. When we first get on social media for the first time or after a long period of time, the amount of dopamine that's released we think is quite substantial. It's novel. Remember, dopamine is about novelty, surprise, and the sense that we are on some exciting track. That's what dopamine is really about. It puts us into states of readiness, anticipation, looking, seeking, etc., almost always for things outside the confines of our skin. Just to contrast it maybe for a bit more of a future discussion, serotonin does the opposite. When there's a lot of serotonin in our brain and body, typically it makes us feel satisfied, sated, and more quiescent, comfortable with what we have in our own immediate sphere and within us, right? The comfort of a good meal, the food you have. Dopamine is about go, go, go. If you look at somebody who's high on cocaine or methamphetamine, it's all about pursuit, because that's a very dopaminergic drug. You look at somebody who's taken a drug, and I'm not suggesting people do this, but it really ramps up serotonin. Let's say a selective serotonin reuptake inhibitor, Prozac, Zoloft, et cetera. The side effects of those drugs, if the dosages are too high, lack of appetite, lack of libido, kind of meh about life, then so they'll adjust the dose down. That's because those are serotonergic drugs. So in general, when we are in pursuit of things, dopamine is quite high. Getting sunlight in your eyes early in the day, even if it's through cloud cover, we can talk about how to do that. I would put right up there in the top batch of mental health, physical health, and performance enhancing behavioral tools. And it's completely zero cost. It takes a little bit of time, but here's the idea.
And this means actually natural sunlight.
That's right.
Yeah. And you should stare at the fucking sun, right?
Well, blink okay. If it hurts. When the sun is low in the sky, you can look at it directly much more easily without pain. But if it's painful, it's okay to blink. Okay. Don't damage your eyes on account of trying to get the sunlight. Here's the idea. A little bit of background just to kind of nest this in something. Every cell in your body has a little 24-hour clock. Viewing the sun, in particular morning sunlight, on a consistent basis, I would say 80% or more of the days of your life is what you should strive for. So it could be 100%, could be 80, but try and do this daily. What it does is it aligns all of those clocks in a very precise way. And it does this by activating specific neurons in your eye called the intrinsically photosensitive melanopsin ganglion cells, but forget, that's all geek speak, connects to your brain and informs all the cells of your body what's going on in the outside world and aligns them. So imagine going into a clock store with every clock is an alarm clock and they're on different schedules. That's what happens if you don't view morning sunlight. When you do view morning sunlight for about, I would say 5 minutes to 10 minutes on a clear day, try and face in the direction of the sun. Don't do it through a window. Don't do it with sunglasses on. Fine to wear eyeglasses or contacts, even with as UVB protection. Don't wear a brimmed hat. Just look in the general direction of the sun, even if you have to be on your phone, but just kind of get some sunlight in your eyes and blink if you need to, if it's painful. Look away from it a little bit if it's really bright. That morning sunlight coordinates all the cellular and organ systems of your body and does a couple of things. First of all, it boosts a number of chemicals that need to be released early in the day, such as cortisol, which is healthy if it's released early in the day, and the so-called catecholamines, which are dopamine, norepinephrine, and serotonin. What is that? Dopamine, norepinephrine, and epinephrine. What does that do? It gives you increased focus, energy, and alertness through the morning, increased immune system function throughout the day, focus throughout the day. And it sets a timer on some other clocks in the body, including the one that releases melatonin about 16 hours later to make you sleepy and fall asleep easily.
This is my biggest struggle, by the way.
If you don't get that morning sunlight for one day, no big deal. But if you don't do it for 2 days or 3 days in a row, what happens is that morning increase in cortisol still happens, but it starts getting pushed out towards the afternoon. And that is strongly associated with depressive symptoms, anxiety, and sleeplessness at night, which then just makes it harder to
Fall asleep
function
the
during
next
the next
day.
day.
Yeah.